Halloween was one of the first films I remember watching and feeling very, like, emancipated. Like, wow, mom and dad aren't home, man. This is cool.
That's it. That's where it happened.
This is another layer of this storytelling, of this origin story. They go back and show what happened that night.
Filling in some of the blanks about how our original Halloween kind of differs from the ending of Carpenter's original.
He murdered 3 teenagers down the street.
This film goes back to 1978. We see the capture of Michael Myers and how that went down.
In Carpenter's version is obviously he goes off of the balcony and then escapes. Our version, Michael is captured.
There was a moment where Loomis was set to execute Michael on site of the crime scene, and Hawkins got in the way of that.
It shows the depth of the dive here. This is a deep dive.
The 1978 footage was at first incredibly stressful, but then as we started to see all the puzzle pieces come into place, there were no worries about it whatsoever.
We're in stage 10 in Wilmington, surrounded by Lambkin Lane.
This is crazy. I've never seen anything like this.
You walk into set every day and feel a little nostalgic and terrified that you're walking into Michael Myers' house.
Walking on the set of, like, the exact replica of where Michael Myers' house was, it's awesome.
This film is written around the house, and it's written around the history of the house.
Let me see a 32.
It does take a team and discussions and debate about how to go about this. For a while, we were going to rebuild his house in a neighborhood, but then I was just thinking, we're going to be shooting all night, every night in someone's neighborhood. Very aggressive, violent, screaming scenes. I don't think that's going to go over well.
We decided to put real grass and in some case real trees in this place. Because of that, we've got like wildlife in here.
To see the research go in and the attention to detail, it's awesome.
I enjoy even what could be the boring part, which is just copying what already exists. I mean, there's this tree in the original film that looks completely fake. We hired this awesome sculptor who knew what the tree was and found pictures of it and sculpted this tree to look just like it.
Haddonfield Sheriff's Department, stop right there!
Make it like someone just jumped out of the car and pops up.
It felt pretty good.
We recreated some 1978 cops and made the choice to match exactly to the original movie. The tan pants with the brown stripes, and they have the green satin bomber jackets with the fur. Just a matter of getting a lot more and making the fit right so that the pants had a little bit of a 70s flair to them.
We get to see Donald Pleasance in this film, kind of.
When I knew they were going to bring him back, I was most curious.
Officer Hawkins, did Michael kill again?
Get your energy, get your energy, get your energy. So we have this guy, Tom Jones, who's like our set construction guy. The second we walked on set, we said, this guy looks like Loomis.
Here we are talking about, do we enlist the latest and greatest computer technologies to bring our character back to life when we've got him standing on the other side of the studio, going through blueprints and readying the set to be built?
That is your eye line. Can we clear the eye line behind there?
Holy shit. That looks just like him.
And then Chris Nelson knocked it out of the park.
My biggest fear was that once the makeup was on, he would look less like Donald Pleasance than what he did beforehand.
Michael, stop!
Louder.
Michael, stop!
As loud as you got.
Michael, stop!
Fans love Dr. Loomis. I love Dr. Loomis. He's the Ahab chasing Michael Myers.
It's funny what people attach to. Dr. Loomis, that quandary is everybody's quandary. You know, do you study him? Do you try to rehabilitate him?
It's him. It's Michael Myers.
Another facet of 1978 is doing the 78 mask.
It's built the same way. It's sculpted and fabricated and poured just like an old-fashioned latex Halloween mask. For 40 years, we've been dissecting this mask. There's hundreds of details that go into recreating it. There's a little air bubble in the corner of the mouth. There's the way the eyes are shaded on the inside but not the outside. There's the way there's dirt on the nose. Swirls of matted hair that point a certain way. If you look, all those swirls are there. Even some people were like, Chris, there's like a piece of hair swirl sticking up there. Could you mat that down? I'm like, oh, no. That has to be there. If it's not there, it's not the 78 shape.
And then Michael Simmons is trying to make the footage look like 1978 footage.
Hopefully you feel like it could be edited into the original movie. I just kind of went for the lighting style. I'm using more hard lights, more direct lights, classic keys, less backlights, and then I'll tweak it on color correction and find a live grain solution.
It feels like Halloween. It feels like it is a missing piece of this story that we hadn't seen before.
He used to stare out the window.
You can tap into the past. You can recreate things from the past.
Maybe he wasn't looking out. Maybe he was looking in. At his reflection. At himself.
I did not think about how difficult this movie would be to technically execute when I was writing it. We're trying to deliver something for the fans and exercise new muscles for ourselves. This is like a canvas to make a bigger, badder, nastier, crazier version.
He kept coming back to me saying, energy, momentum, this thing needs to move. The timeline of the movie began to compress, and then we realized this thing just needs to take off from where the other one left off.
This is the chaos that is infused in Haddonfield. It's a community that's ready to boil.
Evil dies tonight!
It's a very different movie. What happens to somebody 40 years later? How does that trauma carry? So here you have an entire town that has been traumatized, and it's the way you can open up this story.
You know, as an audience, all this other stuff's happening over here, and people are dying, and these poor folks don't know that yet.
Let's get that bird's eye view of Haddonfield itself. What does Haddonfield look like 40 years after the 1978 murders?
Any of you know the story of the Haddonfield boogeyman? Too young to give a shit, too drunk to remember?
There is a level of pain there in the town that they carry this weight of the fear of Michael.
Lindsay, Tommy, Marion, and Brackett. Lori was not the only victim in 1978.
My name is Tommy Doyle, and I was that young boy.
David Gordon Green and Danny McBride were always adamant that they wanted to see the people of Haddonfield respond to Michael Myers.
We watched all of the Halloween so many times that it became pretty easy about who we should pick in. We were down to the point of, like, we should get that dog in.
Reaching outside the obvious for casting is important to me, and aren't the ones that everybody thinks are the obvious choices, but trying to dig a little deeper.
40 years ago, when I was a kid, you protected me. So tonight, I'm gonna protect you.
Anthony Michael Hall, he has the toughest role.
I grew up watching his movies, and it seemed like it was a right fit for this world.
He feels of the time and place and texture of Haddonfield.
And he brings kind of a new dimension to the character of Tommy Doyle.
Tommy is now in his middle age, is sort of rallying the local community.
This man is a threat, and we need to stop him tonight.
He was the younger of the two kids, being looked after by Lori. But I think for Tommy, I think it's revenge. I think the sense of wanting to protect Lori and Lindsay.
You see the intensity that he brings, the aggression that he brings, and he would be so possessed with Tommy Doyle, steam would be rising out of his head.
He's the one that really charges the whole movie with its mission. It is his own trauma that makes him the leader.
This ends when Michael is dead!
How about this sassy tackle?
You have a permit for all these?
Some of them.
Lonnie. Oh, man. Lonnie is a troubled guy who was a bully when he was a kid in the 78 version. I think his life has been kind of sad. He's felt like a coward his whole life, and some of this is a way to find some retribution for that.
You fucking dummy. You brought your kid to the belly of the beast. Now I'm going in alone.
He can be gruff, sarcastic, mean, but Robert Longstreet brings real vulnerability.
Lonnie is not a great dad, but a really great guy.
He's mellowed around the edges and trying to become a better man now and more loving to his son.
I will see you at the finish line, buddy.
David tried to cast as many people as he possibly could from the original.
You know, 8 years old, shooting Halloween. I didn't know what I was doing until I saw it. Then I was like, what on God's green earth? 40 years ago, you carried me.
I carried you.
Come on. No, I'm going to carry you. Come on.
You guys are coming too.
Couldn't let you have all the fun. Lindsay has never left Haddonfield. This is something that she's lived with for 40 years. That's not something you can just get over, so she's always going to carry that with her. But, you know, having this group of people, she has the confidence to say, okay, let's all go together and do this.
Kyle Richards as Lindsay, to see her taking on Michael, it's just like a dream come true. She committed 100%. We put her through crazy stunts and threw her in the water.
It was going into this swamp.
It's literally terrifying.
And I see these 3 men with flashlights looking for gators. And I'm like, what? Back up, did you say alligators?
If I saw alligators, you'd all know it.
Then I heard a big splash.
There was a bullfrog.
There was a bullfrog. It's okay, everybody. We're good.
Tick spiders, Michael Myers.
On Halloween 2018, I tried to stifle the nerdery a little bit. This one, it came out hard, man.
We have Miss Marion Chambers. She survived an assault.
Nancy Stevens as Marion. I mean, holy crap.
It's been years since she'd acted, and I kind of pitched her the idea and what I wanted to do. And once she got to set and saw how much fun everybody was having, she went for it, 100%.
I immediately knew who she was because she looks the same. I felt an instant connection to her. It just felt so good, you know, all of these people from the original movie coming together again.
Hey, Michael, this is for Dr. Loomis.
He killed my daughter 40 years ago. Evil dies tonight.
Well, Sheriff Brackett has sort of faded away.
He's turning us into monsters.
Sheriff Brackett from the original film is back, kind of demoted to a security guard in Haddonfield Memorial Hospital and trying to step back into that authority that he once had.
Just like Laurie, there's a part of him that's still frozen in the events that happened in Haddonfield long ago.
Charles Cyphers, this guy has been in so many movies I grew up with.
A couple of my friends were going, I can't believe it. And I said, I can't either, but here I am, you know.
Hey, Michael, it's Halloween. Everyone's entitled to one good scare.
We had just this beautiful, beautiful reunion.
I love the enthusiasm of these guys and the fact that they birthed these characters 40 years ago.
It's very surreal to work with all those original cast members of Halloween.
Evil dies tonight.
I think they're just fascinating and colorful characters who bring a little bit more richness to the movie. I believe that Sheriff Brackett went on to be a hospital security guard. I believe that Lonnie, Tommy, and Lindsay are still kicking around Haddonfield, you know, living their lives.
40 years ago, a madman escaped from a mental hospital.
People needing someone to pin this pain on.
Is he real? Who knows?
You could say, oh, you're getting to do the ultimate fan fiction, but I think we go beyond that. We are trying to tell a true storyline that feels real and connected to the '78 movie.
It's Halloween night in Haddonfield. And terror is supposed to be fun.
Laurie Strode, in my mind, is always the centerpiece of the Halloween franchise.
For Laurie, her journey was complete. She gave it all, her heart, her soul, her blood.
You saw the final girl finally face her fear of 40 years.
But in order to continue the story, she has transferred the passion, the fierceness into her daughter and her granddaughter, with Laurie in the center of it, wondering what the fuck happened.
You and Allison should not have to keep running.
You'll always be with us.
Karen and Allison just went through this horrific thing where they lost so many people that they love. And on top of that, there's a certain level of guilt and shame for not believing Laurie from the start.
We all go through this process, but it's really, I just have to always remind myself, it's been like 2 hours. I kept saying to David Gordon Green, like, I've never had to play so many things at once, like, ever. This fear, this loss, grief.
People always like, why do bad things happen to good people? And this is kind of a situation where, what do good people do when bad things happen to them?
We fight. We always fight.
It's the same night. Like, my husband is dead, and my mom is dying, and my daughter's now missing, but the guy's still out there. We shot him in the face. Burned him alive.
A lifetime of preparation, and for what?
Karen, she's the voice of reason. She's the audience. She's us. She's practical, trying to navigate a heightened situation.
The three of us all together cannot stop Michael Myers.
We're not equipped. There are authorities who are trained looking for him. You think you're the one that's gonna find him?
The relationships between parents and their offspring, you often see the yin and yang, the butting of heads.
Laurie's turned her daughter and her granddaughter into warriors. They now believe her. They now are on the same path that she is.
A lot of the paranoia that they thought Laurie had is real.
Allison is an amalgamation of like both of those women. She has that sensitivity and understanding that Karen has, but she has that strength and survivor mentality that Laurie has.
He creeps, he kills, he goes home.
And that's where we're going. You watch her take matters into her own hands and goes after him. She's brave and courageous, and this one real badass. Gotcha.
Judy and Andy are so good at dialing through those ranges of emotion.
She is putting on a masterclass of acting in this. Michael Myers has haunted this town for 40 years. Tonight we hunt him down.
Andy, I think it was super exciting for her to take up knife and gun and hunt Michael Myers.
She's definitely related to Laurie.
And I think that's what the fans wanted to see after 2018, too. I think they were looking for a torch pass.
I like to think of the Strode women like action heroes, driven, prepared for anything, and they're really tough.
Both these women are fighters, and so I think it kind of engages something in both of them, the strength that was always there.
As fans of Halloween know, Michael can get very surreal with some of his art exhibitions. Those are qualities of his that I've always admired.
Everything is really, really heightened in Halloween Kills.
There's blood and knives.
It starts at about 100% and it goes to about 500%.
It's a maelstrom of violence and fear.
There's a huge body count in this movie.
Michael Myers eviscerates everybody.
I feel at the beginning of the day I've got so many ideas and shot lists and storyboards and all these great plans, and by the end of the day, I'm just trying to survive.
Marcus, I think it's important that you keep an eye out and look, is he there, is he here, like where could he be, is important.
We're constantly being challenged by all these other creative voices to see if we can beat things and just elevate it.
For David, his crew on a movie like this is crucial.
All right, picture, here we go. The core of that crew, it's our first AD, Attila, Michael Simmons, our DP, Ronita, our script supervisor, and David is there and going, this is my vision, this is what I want to get for the day.
We have Tommy Doyle, he smacked the car.
I feel like every set needs an Attila. I've never met an energy like his.
Attila is there to keep this machine that we have moving so smoothly.
So that was great. Let's go back to one. That's no bueno. Woo! Let's do this!
Mike Simmons wants to make sure the story is being told to the best of their ability.
Mike, whose idea was this, yours or David's? It was my idea.
Michael is often coming up with shots and saying, well, I think we should be doing this. And it's not like David is saying, like, this is the shot.
Let's check the eyeline for the eye camera.
I'm so in love with Ronit. I love her so much.
Ronit is making sure continuity is in check.
If you look at her notebook, she's taking notes on every single little thing.
She puts up with no bullshit at all.
It all trickles down from David.
If there's not a movement, a progression to the life, then maybe it should all start to happen.
A lot of these guys have worked with David for 20 years, I guess, when they went to film school together. And that says a lot.
You don't feel like a puppet or a technician. You're creating to the larger piece of work.
I like it.
The way that David allows Michael and allows Attila and allows Ronit voice.
He will listen and he will take what fits into his vision.
It's kind of like the best idea wins, and there's really no ego involved.
The entire group of people, actors, director, and crew, made this movie, and none of it you can do without them.
Again, give us 3 in a row.
Get back to kill game!
Now one very soft.
This is their movie, very much their movie.
Do you get sad when you have to kill cast members off?
Depends on who we're killing. All right, this looks good. Let's do it.
There are so many kills I can't even, you're gonna have to remind me of them.
Action!
Well, when we first started, the creative process of murdering people.
Thinking of creative way to murder somebody is never the happiest process. How do you kill somebody thing without feeling like a real asshole?
We're seeing more on-camera deaths and more response to deaths, the aftermath.
Sometimes you want to see a gross-out gore gag and have the audience scream. Other times you want to be very implied and impressionistic about it.
You know, what's a nice kill? What's an interesting kill? What's a unique kill? And then, how do we do it? Can we just see everyone in their approximate positions for now?
Okay, and then open it up a little there with those guys.
What would happen if I said roll sound? We would make a movie. And picture.
The idea is that we've got probably 4 hours of prime inferno, but we only have one house, so if we don't get it, we're fucked.
Is that as crazy as I can go? Whatever they're doing is a waste of time. Let's bring everybody in.
The artistry of the firemen deaths is beautiful.
So, Paul, you'll be right here on this lens.
That close-up shot was so fucking awesome of you emerging in the close. Then I go wide for the boom.
A lot of it's going to be in silhouette. It's going to be impressionistic violence.
There's going to be a blood splurt. Do what you want with that information.
It's definitely a new thing for Michael to be taking down 10, 12 people.
How much of the house will be on flames when that's happening?
All of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, it's going to be a weird night.
It was a stressful day because there was just a lot of pieces adding up.
Longer lens. We're going to need everyone to bugger off that way.
Like, this house is not going to catch on fire by the time the sun comes up over the horizon. And I turn around, and then I hear a bigger whoosh, and this whole house is, like, ablaze. The house, within, like, an hour, hour 10, was down to the ground. And we're all just stepping in muck and blood and body parts. It was hilarious. By the end of the night, everybody was just super pumped.
Cut.
Beautiful.
That is lost. We are cut.
Phil and Sandra have a house that's near Laurie Strode's. Of course, they are on the path of Michael Myers.
The fuck was that?
I see him get his head smashed here.
He grabs me, he pins me, boom, boom. That's fucking perfect.
Hey, Mark.
Call it cops!
Two very intense kills.
Grab your neck with your hand.
He said, hey, man, come on down to fucking Carolina. It's warm. You'll have fun.
That was amazing.
Oh, I came up with the idea of stabbing her in the neck with the fluorescent light bulb.
You're armed and he's not, and you don't want to, and it's a little curious that he's going for the light bulb.
Utilizing things that are in your home or things that you have access to, and then trying to imagine, like, well, what if someone just pulled that fluorescent tube out and jammed this down your throat? It's like, yeah, that would suck.
You know, just make a big old opera out of it.
I was like, that'd be cool, right? And David's like, yeah, that'd be really great. Let's do that. And then when we were doing it, I was like, wow, this is harder than I thought.
It takes precision to pull those gags off.
There's the artistry, and then there's the mechanical side of it, which is getting blood to plump through and flow and explode the way you want it, the texture of the blood, etc.
So we had this, you know, full prosthetic appliance with bladders underneath it and fluorescent light bulbs out of plastic that retracted, that had a little gun shooting thing in it.
Just a slight bit lower.
Oh, lower? I'm going to do a countdown. And that is the cue for the actual stab and for your blood gag. Roll sound. Stab.
There's a pretty amazing sequence at a playground. Sure to be very bloody.
Hey, Mark.
What the hell is that?
It's Michael.
When I first heard the idea that David wanted to bring back Nurse Marion, I was like, yeah, that's natural. We should just do that.
Hey, Michael. This is for Dr. Loomis.
She gets stabbed to death. Over and over and over and...
Cut. One more time.
3, 2, 1, bang. That was great.
One of the kills that gets me the most is Vanessa's untimely demise, when she tries to come at Michael Myers with a gun, and then he turns the tables on her quickly.
First shot hits the headlight. Second shot hits the hood. Bang. Third shot skips off the roof.
Everyone's apologizing every die. Like, I'm so sorry you guys died. Like, man, I'd rather die by Michael Myers than anybody else.
It's shocking and effective.
You're always trying to one-up each other, so you know the script will say, and Marcus gets stabbed in the face. Well, that's pretty vague, right? Let's be more specific. Okay, how about we stab him in the mouth and it comes out of the back of his head? No, let's not do that, but how about we do that? And then it evolves. As opposed to just doing a fake head, we did a really cool appliance with like a half blade sticking out, blood tubes, everything. It was a really elaborate makeup. Very carefully. Watch your face. We did a reverse kind of gag, shot parts of it in reverse. So we went back and used a lot of old-fashioned tricks.
When we were filming it, it was almost just for our own sick pleasure and entertainment. Honestly, never intending to put it in the movie. But then when we tested it for an audience, we just heard the screams, and we just thought it was too delicious not to include.
Can we straighten out Shape's wrist?
That's part of the whole fucking problem with fucking angles.
I want to get high and dance.
I was just trying to think of who would be unexpected, surprising.
We're in kind of our own little world.
Did someone just go to our house?
Characters that would be fun to watch, so it wasn't just oppressive melancholy.
I got this knife. I got this knife.
They do a zone defense.
Yeah, they zone it up. Field upstairs, downstairs, 2-3 zone.
Little John? Big John! Big John!
Good.
Everybody okay?
No, it's good.
He went down.
That's fucking terrifying. I'm not gonna look at that. I did it.
We kill Big John. We were just going to reveal him and find him dead, but we're actually shooting a thing where this Shape's going to come up and gouge his eyes out and shove his fingers in through his eyes into his brain and kill him, so that's cool.
Michael, you've come home.
I hope we're showing something that's going to stay in someone's head.
It's got a high body count.
The blood and the guts and the killing.
I always thought Michael Myers was flesh and blood.
This movie is savage. It's bedlam.
The more he kills, the more he transcends into something else.
Tonight's tragedy, an eerie reminder of an event in Haddonfield history this community has spent decades trying to forget.
Currently, we are at Mick's Bar, where some of the original surviving victims of Michael Myers' first rampage in '78 meet here to support each other.
There were a lot of people who were affected by Michael Myers.
40 years ago, a madman escaped from a mental hospital. A man in a white mask.
And of course, that's our first thought is, oh my God, you know, it's Halloween, we're all together. Is it Michael Myers?
Somebody help me, clear. He's in the backseat of my car.
David was really clear that, like, he just wanted to explore the after effects of violence. And in this, he was interested in seeing how it affected the town.
The only way we're gonna stop this is if we all come together on this.
You're goddamn right.
We're gonna see what happens when an entire town comes up with the same passion and fervor that Laurie had.
Now listen, boys, there's strength in numbers.
That rage has just metastasized.
Michael Myers will be executed tonight, and it will not go without witness. Evil dies tonight.
Evil dies tonight. Evil dies tonight.
But it really does talk about this sort of mob mentality.
The community is all responding to fear and terror in their own way.
This idea of fear, you know, is interesting. Fear is a driver.
He is an apex predator. When he surfaces, there will be no pause. There will be no empathy.
And look, it's him. Where? Who? That guy. Oh my God, it's him. Oh my God. And then he gets all freaked out and he runs.
So we filmed Halloween Kills in 2019, and the ideas of a community divided on the brink of chaos, these were pretty far-fetched ideas, and it's been interesting sitting back with the film through so much that's evolved in terms of the frustrations around the world. It feels that much more relevant. You know, it's one thing to have a man with a knife in your house, and it's another one to have a mob on your ass ready to tear you limb from limb.
It becomes groupthink. It's not an individual, it's a mass. They want to be part of the group, and whatever the group decides. I think that's the human condition. They want to participate in the ending because when it ends, they are then released from that.
It's one thing to write these on a page and, you know, there's hundreds of people in a hallway and knocking over equipment and running after someone. It's another one to be there with a camera when you're in the path of this stampede. And it really is, it is intense, it's brutal, it's psychological, it's emotional.
I didn't anticipate how intense it would be. It's like really scary to see all those people running towards you, screaming with those angry looks.
It shows the butterfly effect of also not just the action of Michael, but the reaction of the people of Haddonfield, and that is making for a very crazy story.
As the mob increases, his brutality increases. It's transcendent in that way.
Is it Michael?
Michael's here!
It's Michael.
Michael!
Mayhem and vigilante justice.
This ends when Michael is dead!
You have all of these people kind of dealing and processing with emotion.
Evil dies tonight!
The mob takes over for better and for worse.
It's a righteous thing to kind of like try to vanquish evil, but like in the process of it, you can end up perpetrating evil.
Trying to figure out who the real monster is. Is it the boogeyman, or is there also a question of the reaction to terror and the reaction to violence?
It's not him! It's not him! It's not him! It's not him! It's not him!
People pick up on, and then that spreads to someone else because they say something, and mass hysteria kicks in.
It's not orchestrated, it's not clean, and it's not elegant. Mob violence is brutal.
Now he's turning us into monsters.
Evil dies tonight! Evil dies tonight! Evil dies tonight!
Look for real! Woo!
Fine, I'll take care of the trick-or-treaters and you can dance. With Murray. It is a big light and a very narrow lane.
That's it. Let's go. Come on. I'm not playing it. Oops, sorry. Can I have another one?
There's a stab wound. She was stabbed.
Was she?
Like a year and a half ago.
She keeps coughing. And here she is. Still looks great after a year and a half of blood loss.
The new diet.
Nice job, dude. Thanks, man.
This is for Laurie. This is for you, Laurie Strode. Laurie, get through 5 pages. One line I fuck up. Okay.
Ray?
He's dead, Mom. More pain meds.
So I wasn't there to put a bullet in her brain, like we should have done.
You said put a bullet in her brain.
Did I say? Bullet in my wife's brain?
Yes.
Excuse me. Oh, fuck.
I need some brakes and some good people. Excuse me. I need some...
You knock it out of gear?
Fuck. I did again.
He's not dead.
Hold on, let me find it. What if you drew like a mouse?
If I drew a mouse, I'd go ear, little whiskers, right here, big fat, and a huge mouse dick.
You ever see Fish Called Wanda when Jamie Lee just got so excited with foreign languages? Just go ahead and talk dirty to her in Latin, like medical terms.
I have American boards that I need to be held accountable to.
Just give her Latin now. Just hit her.
It's my granddaughter wanting to FaceTime me. Turning it off, boss.
everybody. Keep it light. This is a lighthearted comedy.
It's him again, isn't it? He murdered my daughter, Annie.
You're Sheriff Brackett.
Nobody's called me that in almost 40 years. I'm just a security guard here.
Michael Myers is dead. We burned him alive in our basement.
I would have loved to watch him burn.
I don't hear no more fire trucks.
Goddamn sleep apnea, man. Smells like Lucky Strikes from when your mother borrowed it.
I smell it too. But that stink ain't cigarettes. That's Laurie Strode's house on fire. I hope she's okay.
From upstairs, it looks like they put it out. I saw her out the window when I was trying to do number one. That'll teach you not to shoot off AKs or drop grenades all hours of the night. Preparing for Armageddon is one thing, but that nutbag lives a highly flammable lifestyle.
Better not talk no shit about that woman. She will fuck you up.
That's what they told Joe Frazier when he was challenged by Gwen Gemini. How about you and I snack on some Cheez-Its and try a little Beaujolais Nouveau?
I'm good.
You don't know how to fly that thing. Give me that controller. Yeah, I got you. The fuck was that?
Somebody in there?
It's all happening. Michael's masterpiece.
The more he kills, the more he transcends